This podcast is being recorded on Kaurna land. We honour and celebrate the strong cultural traditions of motherhood, family and connection to country.
How Motherhood Changed Me is brought to you by Harrison McMillan, Australia's leading recruitment firm run by women who live by values that make their mothers proud.
No woman can say motherhood hasn't changed her, but every mother's story is different.
I just had dinner with Mum and Dad the night before, and Mum had just seen Ryan and said, look, I think you need to see him. And I was like, I'm so angry at him. I don't want him. He's drunk. I don't want him holding my baby. Like, can't he just get sober to me, his nephew? The next day I kind of processed it that Mum was like, you need to see him. So I was sitting in the nursery with Austin and Jimmy was sitting on the floor, and I was like, I had this overwhelming urge to call him. So I was like, okay, I've got to call Ryan. So I called him, didn't answer. Called him again, he didn't answer. And I was like, okay, maybe he's just sleeping. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then that night at about 10 o'clock, I was going to bed, and I'd always said to Mum, if something ever happens, I don't want to hear you say the words that he's died.
This is How Motherhood Changed Me. Hello, I'm Kerrie Turner.
And I'm Jenna Yates. Kez, you described our guest today as a bubbly ball of colourful energy.
She is.
And that is just so spot on. We both worked with her back in our radio days, and even at like 5 a.m, she would have the biggest smile on her face and just be bouncing off the walls. And you'd just be sitting there thinking, how does she have this much energy at this time of the day? But she did. And I was working in the newsroom when she returned from maternity leave. I'll never forget the morning when she told a devastating personal story live on air. We already know the tissues are going to be needed for this chat, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of laughs as well, because that's just who this person is. Hayley Pearson, welcome.
So nice, guys. What a beautiful introduction.
So nice to be here with you.
Can I say, I feel I've never done a podcast, ever. I've never said yes to someone because it actually makes me quite nervous. But you guys are so beautiful, and I'm so proud that you're doing this. And I open my Spotify and there you guys are in like the top ranking shows.
Thank you.
And well deserved. It's such a nice, safe space. Two beautiful, happy, smart women.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to create. So
thank you.
I'm glad we have.
Oh, this is so nice. All time's sake.
Warm and fuzzy, aren't we? Now, Hayley, I need to ask you before we jump into our chat, can you think of one word that would describe the woman you were before you had children?
Oh, yeah. Light. I was light.
That's a great word.
Because I feel like now I'm heavy, not so much in a bad way, but before kids, nothing fazed me. Yeah. I was so light in the head and everything. It sounds like I was always like pissed, but I wasn't. I was just light because now I feel...
Not a worry in the world.
Not a worry.
Kids.
No, everything changed.
Yeah, but it does, because I think it becomes so much more real. You've got dependence.
Yeah.
I know I always used to think, not scared of heights and I could jump out of a plane, and then the thought of that now with my kids.
Yeah. Same,
like
flying.
I couldn't do that.
Everything changed. I became so morbid. I am the happiest morbid person you'll ever meet. Like I actually am. I have really dark, horrible
worst case
thoughts.
scenarios.
Yeah. I just worry all the time, and I didn't have that before having my babies.
You and Jimmy, your husband, moved around a lot for work in radio, as we all do.
As we all do.
You bounce around the place. But were kids always on the cards for you? Did you always know you wanted to be a mum?
Funny you say that. So, yeah, Jimmy and I have been together since I was about 21, and we moved to Queensland for radio. At that stage, I've always had this fire in me ever since I can remember, that I almost knew that what I wanted to be when I was like 7 years old. So I always knew the path I was going to take, and if I didn't take that path, I think I would have been really lost. So I knew I wanted to be a journalist or on TV or an artist. Like, they're the things that I always wanted to do. Wow. So for me, it was like in my 20s, I knew eventually I would want to be a mum, but it wasn't something that I was like, I knew I didn't want to have babies early. I wanted to like make my mark early so I could continue doing that because I kind of needed both. And I do remember the moment that I woke up one morning. We were staying in Byron Bay, my husband and I at the time, and it was a light bulb moment where I woke up and I was like, Jimmy, let's have a baby. I'm ready. And then and because of my like undiagnosed ADHD brain, I was like, we have to do this now. Like I had so much dopamine in me. I was like,
baby making.
Totally. I was like, let's do it. And then the next month we were very lucky, and I hate saying this because you feel guilty. Yeah. We were lucky that we fell pregnant quite early. And so it just went from there. But because of radio, I kind of had to plan the timing.
Yeah.
Because in breakfast radio, where I was at the time, you can't just have a baby in the middle of the year.
No.
Because you can't have any time off.
Can't take time off. Yeah.
I literally said, if we don't fall pregnant in February, then we might have to wait a year. Isn't that fucked? Am I allowed to swear?
You can totally swear. But do you know what? I can appreciate that. I imagine that there was a big discussion about how long you'd have to take off.
Yes, and it wasn't long.
Yeah.
Like, I look back, I think I actually have PST. I feel like I have blocked so much out of that time because as women, you can't believe how much you can take on.
Yeah.
And it's only in hindsight that you look back and go, fuck, I did all of that.
Yeah.
And we did, because it was like, if I don't have a baby at Christmas time where I know there's 5 weeks holiday, then I can only probably have 4 weeks off. They're not going to give me much time off on radio, unfortunately, because it's very obvious when you're not there.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to take too much time, because then what if they decide to go that direction and then...
Yeah. And at that stage, I was like, you're really anxious about and worried about your job, and you want both. And so it's exactly right. But I do remember the moment. And back then I was a very different person to what I am now. And I didn't really have the balls to ever stand up for myself. So when I went through a really hard time, which we'll talk about in a second, when I had my first child. But they brought me into the station and said, hey, we've heard the other stations are coming back early in January. Let's go back a week early. And I was like...
Because they didn't care about that stuff. They just don't.
They don't. 8 weeks. I had 8 weeks off.
8. Oh.
And then I was like pumping and breastfeeding at 3 a.m, pumping in the studio. See, I look back and go, how the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
I think I was a robot.
I don't know if I'd washed my hair at 8 weeks.
No, that's the thing. I still had
honestly don't
placenta coming out of me. I was walking around and dripping. It's so true though.
You're still in that 4th trimester that they talk about.
Yeah.
And you're juggling all the things and a newborn. Oh my gosh.
And the mental stuff of like, I did want to enjoy that time of being a mum. But then I had the other side of me that loves my career, and it's never been about money or anything. I think it's a creativity thing in me that if I'm not entertaining that, then I get sad. So I have to have both.
The logistics for a listener who hasn't been in brekkie radio though. So you might think, 6 till 9, like what's so bad? It's just not like that. I mean, what time were you waking up?
Well, I had a rule with my husband. So I would do the last feed. Then if Austin woke up before 2 a.m, Jimmy would get up and feed him. Yeah. If it was after 2, I would do it, because then I would just feed, have a shower and go to work. Yeah. So it was full on. So I'd be, on a good night, I'd wake up at 3 to feed him, make sure he was settled, go back to bed before being at work at 4:30.
And would you go to bed like...
I was
early?
So strict.
Yeah, you have to be.
I was so disciplined, and Jimmy's not like that at all. Like, so he actually was like, hats off to you. Like, how do you do that? And I actually think I was a robot, because everything was happening in my head and planning the show and planning the feeds and the bottles and like all that logistic stuff.
But you're also genuinely exhausted enough to fall into bed at 7 o'clock and sleep.
Yes. Yeah. But then I would also have sleeping tablets because I wouldn't, because I'd be so anxious.
Oh, dear. And then you don't get to leave at 9 o'clock because you've got meetings and all of that stuff.
I had a nickname, Punch Out Pearson. I used to get really pissed off at my co-host. I'll throw him under the bus, Burjo. He used to because he wasn't a dad at that stage, so he didn't get it. And I would be wanting to get out because I wanted to see my son. I couldn't wait to get home and pick him up and cuddle him and just be a mum for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Oh, that delicious.
Yes.
Even the smell of their wet nappies when they're first born, it
totally.
smells like chicken soup.
The poo smells like maple syrup. I don't know
you just,
why,
like,
but it does.
You just can't wait to get home, and I couldn't wait to get home, and work didn't understand it. And unfortunately, I've probably worked a lot of my jobs until now as well, even with like Hello SA, like my show, when no one else was a mum or dad and they didn't understand. Now my best friend Lauren's a mum. She understands now as well. She totally sees why I want to get out and I want to go and see the kids, or why I say no to things a lot of the time is because I just want to see my babies.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet there were so many things, even just being pregnant too. I mean, I can remember being pregnant and still working in radio and vomiting into the bucket.
Oh, I'm
from
yes.
the news bulletin.
Yes.
While
And
the-
having to hide it.
having saladas there on my desk,
Dry
and everyone
crackers.
bloody knew but
Yeah.
didn't say anything. But it is really hard, and it's hard when you feel like crap and you have to show up
Yeah.
in such a way.
I
It doesn't
actually
matter
remember.
what you look like, but you have to sound engaging.
Happy.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the one good thing about breakfast radio. You can go in, and I know Kerrie doesn't, but when you go in now, you look amazing. But I literally used to wear my dressing gown.
Yeah, which is fine. But then at 9 o'clock when all the people come and they look fantastic, you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
I feel gross. That's why I want to punch out.
And yet I do it for my attitude. If I roll
Yes.
in my activewear,
Yeah.
then I've got a way more relaxed attitude to what I'm doing. Or if I make a little bit of effort at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Yes.
then I feel like I'm in the zone.
Yeah,
Game
but
day
I
ready.
I was doing the same. I was vomiting in the toilets
Oh,
in
I've
the song
done
breaks. And then I remember like Lauren, my other Adelaide, banging on the door. She was my producer, going, Hayley, you've got a live read. Come out. What are you doing? I'm like, I'm just vomiting. Fuck. Anyway, we do what we do, and I couldn't do it again. That was probably the moment. Like now, like someone said to me yesterday, "Would you ever have any more babies?" I'm 42, so I'm way too old. But there's no way in hell I would have it in me to do that now. I
would
just
struggle.
Don't. Yeah. I
would-
think the age, I just can't. I just don't. Maybe it's because I know that I was done with Alfie, our second baby, but I just I don't have it in me to get up in the middle of the night.
No. I
And
found it.
mother.
I had my second at almost 38, and I
Yep.
found that hard.
Yeah. It's a weird
I'm
thing,
older,
isn't it?
and so much different to.
But I bet you're a better mum at 38 than you would have been if you had a baby at 28.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, see, I was 28 with
Yeah.
my first, so
I was
but it-
29, yeah. But, you know, like, I don't know, do you feel like you know more now as you're older, and maybe less things maybe phase you as now with your second? Have you got 3 now?
I have 3, but I
Yeah.
guess you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, true.
So when
That's
you're in
very
it,
true.
you're just in it.
Yeah.
But it is hard, and hard enough for any of us going through that newborn stage, especially when you're a first-time mum. Everything's really new. But Hayley, you had so much more going on at that time. Can you tell us about that time?
Yeah, sure. So let's go back. So it was 2011. So funny. I don't really talk about this, and I feel safe talking about it with you, but I don't often think about it, so I don't know what's going to come out. So let's just see what happens.
tissues there.
It's quite funny actually when you talk about something that's quite traumatic in your life. Sometimes you can just talk about it like it's not your life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So in 2011, so I was pregnant with my first son, Austin, and my brother, who was 4 years older than me, Ryan, was suffering from alcohol addiction. It had been going on for a few years, where he started drinking when he was 27 and he was 34 at the time. So he had the liver of a 66-year-old alcoholic. So I found out recently we actually have a gene with alcohol. I'll tell you about that later, but we didn't know at the time. So he was really bad. And I thought my brother was gay, and so he was never going to have children, and he always wanted to be an uncle, like to the point that he would be like, I've grown a beard today because I think uncles have beards. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to be the best uncle ever. So I thought that would be a reason for him to stop drinking, and vodka was his drink of choice. I think in the last few months of me being pregnant, I was quite, and you can probably only understand this if you've been related to someone who has an addiction, it's a disease, is that it's a roller coaster. So you love them endlessly, but you also go through stages where you feel like you hate them because you're like, can't you just decide to stop?
Yeah.
Can't you just do this? Like, you're going to be, for me, it was like, I want you to be part of our kids' lives. Like, I want you to be healthy and live long. And also you see the stress that's putting on my mum and dad that I'm very, very close to. So I'll tell you about what happened in the last couple of months. We knew he was unwell, and the doctor said, if you don't stop drinking, you will die.
That surely is a wake up. Surely.
But surely, yes, for all of us.
Yeah.
But for him, it's like, I don't know if he just it was too far gone. He couldn't stop. He couldn't help himself. And so the last couple of weeks, I kind of detached a little bit because I was like, I need to look after my family, and I don't want this to ruin, this is my moment. Because for a lot of our lives, Ryan had been through a lot of hard times, and I was always there for him, but I just was like, I just need this. I just want to enjoy this. Yeah. And so I remember the last time I saw him, I went in there, we were talking about, like, he always thought it was going to be a girl, and he was like so excited, and like he's had a very childlike mind, so he couldn't wait to do all the story stuff, like all the fairy tale stuff with the kids when he was an uncle. He wrote beautiful letters to them before they were born and all this kind of stuff. So I ended up having a C-section with Austin on November 3rd, and at that point I wasn't thinking of my brother. I was just in my moment, and and thank God he was still here, because I got to have that moment of giving birth to for the first time, and just having that beautiful moment of seeing your child for the first time, and like in that beautiful bubble. The next day, I was really, really sick. So I had an allergic reaction to the endone or whatever they gave me. So I was vomiting for the first 12 hours. So I didn't actually get to hold Austin for a little while. And I remember sitting in the hospital at Burnside Hospital, looked at my phone, and it was Ryan calling me. And my mum was in the room, and I was like, oh, you got to take it. I can't talk. And I was so sick. So Mum took it, and she was out talking to him, and rah-rah. And he was like, oh, I'm just so excited. I can't wait to meet him, and rah-rah. I didn't, and as you guys know, as mums, it's like there's no day and night when you first become a mum. It's just, you're just existing. Like, there's literally no time of morning or night. It's just whatever. So I was in a world of, in my own little bubble, and it got to day 6, and we were home from the hospital. And sorry, I'm going on and on, by the way.
No. It's fine.
It's actually nice talking about it. It's weird. It's like, because I don't think about this. So it was day 6. I was at home, and I had this really weird, I just had dinner with Mum and Dad the night before, and Mum had just seen Ryan and said, look, I think you need to see him. And I was like, I'm so angry at him. I don't want him. He's drunk. I don't want him holding my baby. Like, can't he just get sober to meet his nephew? The next day, I kind of processed it that Mum was like, you need to see him. So I was sitting in the nursery with Austin, and Jimmy was sitting on the floor, and I was like, I had this overwhelming urge to call him. So I was like, okay, I've got to call Ryan. So I called him, didn't answer. Called him again, he didn't answer. And I was like, okay, maybe he's just sleeping. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then that night at about 10 o'clock, I was going to bed, and I'd always said to Mum, if something ever happens, I don't want to hear you say the words that he's died. Oh my God, sorry. So I was lying in bed, and I saw Jimmy's phone ring, and it was Mum and Dad. And I was like, I'm not going to answer that, because he was in the shower. I was like, I'm just going to leave it, because I think in my heart I probably knew it was something bad. I lay in bed, Jimmy went and got his phone, went out, and then as soon as the door opened and he sat on my bed, I knew what he was going to have to say. And without him even saying it, I was like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, please don't say it. And then he's just like looking at me. Yeah. So it was exactly a week after. So Ryan never got to meet Austin. And I think the thing, I look back and I go, how did I do that? I found out at 10 o'clock at night, and Mum and Dad came over and were, trying to process everything. And then having to go, fuck, I have to get up and feed at 1:30. and then at 3, and then I just have to keep going. But I thank him because I feel like maybe he held on till I became mum and I could enjoy that moment of, first being a mum, and allowed me to have that because Austin saved us. And if you talk to my mum and dad now, if we didn't have a new little beautiful bubby boy to love and bring joy, I think we would have really suffered even more than we did. So Austin, my mum will always say, Austin's our little superhero.
Yeah. He gave you all a reason to get up every day.
100%, a reason to smile, and the best distraction ever. I have big regrets of not answering that phone call in the hospital and not letting him meet him.
But you did what you needed to do at that time. What was right for you?
Yeah. And I think I would have, he saw photos of him, and I love that he knows that I had a son and that he went knowing that I was a mother. And I got the most beautiful text message from him that I'll keep forever. But yeah, it is a regret that I didn't let him meet him.
You don't have a photo of the two of them together?
No. But I have always kept him alive with our 2 boys. Weirdly enough, my second son, I have a weird theory that maybe if you believe in past lives and all that kind of stuff, Alfie may be Ryan. Weird. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
He has a really weird connection to him.
Wow.
Even yesterday in the car, he just wants to listen to music from 2010, the year before Ryan died. I was like, that's weird. Isn't that weird?
And for him, it would be old music.
Oh, it's so old. Such an old soul. And he feels he always asks about Ryan and always wants to be like him. Like, what's his favourite colour? And both our boys' favourite colour is green because Uncle Ryan's was green. So
that's beautiful.
So my first experience of being a mum, I've never thought about it, but it was yeah.
It was a high and then it was a low.
Yeah. And then having to go back to radio so soon, it was a really different experience than with Alfie, my second son, because I was so happy. And I look back and go, Austin was like so skinny, and of course he was probably starving because I probably wasn't making any breast milk because I was so stressed. Whereas Alfie was a little fatso, and because he was having, because I was happy when 3 years later it was a totally different experience. That was my experience of motherhood for the first time.
Lot. It is.
Yeah.
And I also think, Hayley, about it's cruel that it's time stamped for you in that way. Like you have Austin's birthday.
Yes.
3 days later, it's Ryan's anniversary. I think a week later, it was your birthday as well. So it's all
2 days. Yeah, I was turning 30. So Austin was born. A week later, Ryan died. 2 days later was my 30th birthday. Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's like forever. It's Austin's age is how long it's been since he's been here.
But not knowing you very well, but knowing you and also following you on social media, and Kerrie and I have said this, family, it's just so obvious that it's everything to you. So also in a way, you guys are all together at that time, and I can imagine with your parents, and you can be together. And,
I'd say I'm probably unusually close to my parents, but I'm also so lucky. I know, like, I have a lot of friends that aren't close to their family, and I have the most amazing parents that I wish I didn't love so much. I think that's my issue. I love people so much that I worry that I'm going to lose them because I know what it feels like to lose someone that you love so much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such a And even now, like, Mum has been through cancer and things like that. And the last couple of weeks I've been waiting for results from her, and they're all fine. We just found out. But I go back to that moment of losing someone, and my body literally reacts in a way I would that I just found out the worst news.
Well, I remember earlier this year when your mum and dad went on a big trip overseas.
Yeah.
And
I'm not a loser, aren't I?
You're not a loser, but
I'm 42 and I had a sleepover at Mum and Dad's house last week. Like, what? Who am I?
because that means they cook you breakfast.
Yeah, no, it's
They
like
don't?
No, they do, Kerrie. It's like I go to a 5-star restaurant, a buffet restaurant, and she literally gets all the different cereals and the yogurts and everything.
Can I have a sleepover at your mum and dad's house?
Yes, you can. They would love that.
Obviously, they pop up on your socials from time to time, but I was semi-recently, maybe back a few months, at the Botanic Gardens in Mount Lofty.
Did you see my dad?
I saw your dad. And I was just like, that's Hayley's dad.
Did you say hello?
No. He'd be like,
Oh my God, he would have loved you.
but you know, he had his walking sticks because I imagine he was preparing
hikes.
for his trip with your mum.
Yes. Oh, that's so
But
funny.
it is nice.
See, Dad says hello to everyone. And if you don't say hello back, Dad's the friendliest man in the world, right? But if you don't say hello back, he turns and goes, oh, good morning to you too. I'm like, oh, Dad. Some people just can't hear. They don't want to say hello. But you got to say hello. If you see Wayno on the street, please say hello to him.
I will.
But yeah, are you guys close to your family? You've got nice...
Yeah.
I'm very close with mine. I am so lucky I still have both of my grandparents.
Oh my God, you are lucky.
On my
So
mum's
lucky.
side. So, yeah, I don't know, just related to a lot of what you just said then, because I remember as a little girl, like just being so close with my nana and actually saying to her, Nanny, when you go, I want to go. Like, I can't imagine life without you. And I'm so lucky at this time of my life and with all of my babies, they've been able to meet them. But I think when you become a mum and you make your own family, it does change, and you've got that purpose and that next phase. So yeah, I really get what you mean by your little boy being your superhero and getting you through that time, because it is just like that really cruel reminder of the circle of life, but also like, oh yes, there's something else here for us to nurture.
And I'm also like, as bad as that situation was, I'm so lucky with the other stuff because my boys get to have the best grandparent relationship. Like I can't tell you how beautiful it is. My dad cries talking about them. He sees them like almost every day, but just gets so teary because he loves them so much, because they're, I think, and also
You wonder where you get it from.
yeah, oh well, true. But also like Ryan growing up was not a typical boy in that he'd be doing ballet instead of football.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Dad never had like the typical son to do the sport with, whereas my sons are very sporty, especially my older son. So Dad gets to go out and kind of relive that experience as well.
Nice.
It's really nice.
We all know that it takes a village to raise a child, and our friends at Harrison McMillan know that it also takes a team to build a successful business.
And they're here to help you find the right team members.
Mums understand the value of asking for help, and businesses should too.
Harrison McMillan specialises in recruiting top talent, so you don't have to go it alone. They have the experience and network to ensure you get the best candidates.
With over 500 clients across Australia, they are well known for their people-centric expertise.
They don't see themselves as just a recruitment agency, but as your strategic talent partner committed to meeting your unique staffing challenges.
And outsourcing to them means you can focus on what you do best.
Visit harrisonmcmillan.com.au to learn more about how they can support your business just like a village supports a family.
How has losing Ryan shaped your life choices? And I ask that because you seem like you're a yes person and you just want to, take life and run with it and take all the experiences you can. Does that...
Yeah, he's actually... Weirdly, I think people... So, a side note, when Ryan was young, Mum and Dad went to a psychic and they said, my parents were like woo-woo, and they said, your son is on the earth to teach you all a lesson.
Oh,
So powerful.
I've just got goosebumps.
I've got goosebumps too.
Yeah,
Wow.
and ever since I was younger, because he was always 4.5 years older than me, sadly, he's always been the one that makes a mistake and has gone, okay, I'm going to go that way. I'll go that way. So he's made me who I am. So I never touched drugs or anything like that growing up, ever. He was always the one that would try stuff and I was like, okay, so that's bad. I'm not going to do that. I'll go down this path. So sadly, he made some really hard decisions that were the wrong decision. And because of that, I've made the right one. So, yeah, I look at that and go, you're 34 and you died at 34. You had so many years to live. And I do.
So young.
I love life and I love living, and I really, I know it's so weird, but my biggest emotion is probably excitement, that I get really excited over things and doing new experiences and seeing the world. And Mum and Dad are the same, because he left so early. Life is so short. Let's go and experience like the best we possibly can and love as hard as you possibly can.
That is so beautiful. And with your second child coming into the mix somewhere in there, I don't know how you found the capacity to even think about it, but then you said yes to starting your own business.
Do you know what? That was Adelaide has saved us in so many ways. I can't tell you. That's why I look at you two, because I know it's a very unrelatable profession that we all chose with radio, but you two get it, and you know the anxiety and the stress that comes with a job like that, and the highs. We did it for a reason, because it's it's an adrenaline rush and you love it.
Best of fun.
It is the best fun, right? But it also comes with a lot of stress.
High pressure. It's really high pressure.
And then I think when you have a baby, you realise, like that just sort of sits different.
Yeah. And you know what? When we came up with Adelaide, that was because we left radio and Lauren and I were like,
now what?
Oh my God. Alfie was so easy, because I was used to my first son going through trauma, and the second one I was like, he's so easy. I need to have that creative outlet. So I literally started as a blog, and I was like, HayleyPearson.com, I'm just going to write about stuff, and I just wrote, and then I'd paint, and then I'd throw the paintings out, and then I was like, Lauren, who's my best friend, we're not best friends at the time, we were just working together at the time, and I was like, let's go out for coffee, let's just do something together. And then literally over one coffee we were like, let's do a website let's take away all the negative stuff of radio, every single thing that made us anxious. Let's not talk about that. Let's not ever entertain that, and let's not work with anyone that ever makes us feel like shit. And from that day on, in 2016, we still stick to that. And if we meet someone that, like, it doesn't matter how much money that they want to throw at us or whatever, if one of us feels that icky feeling in our stomach, it's a no. Always. So when we had Alfie and we started our business, from day one it was that they were the foundations, but also family is everything. And I did miss out on a lot by doing Brekkie Radio when Austin was young. Like, I really did. I was talking to him about it this morning on the way to school. He doesn't really remember much of it, which is good, but I wanted to create something that had so much flexibility in it, which we do. And all of our staff, 90% of us are mums. And I have always said to them, and I continue to say it, if you have something on, like a sports day or anything that you want to do with your family, that is number one.
Yeah.
Work is always secondary, because we're not saving lives. It's just a job.
And you will say no to things. I know that. You'll say no to things if it means that you can stay at home on the couch with your boys.
I know. And do you know what?
I admire
you always
that.
do feel guilty. Lauren is yet to learn that. She's still at that stage where she feel like she's letting everybody down. But my thing is, like, if I'm saying yes to you and being out on a Saturday night, I'm saying no to my boys. I don't want to say no to my boys. And they're at the age now where they're like,
it's not gonna, they're not gonna want to hang with you forever.
And
I mean, they may.
Hopefully they do.
Look at you with your mum. I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, but they're boys. Boys are different. Alfie, my little guy, is probably more attached, and he's like, are you going away for a night? Don't go away. Why don't go away? And I was like, far out.
Can I come with you?
Yeah, so I try not to do that. I'm very. It might look like we're all over the place, but we're not. The balance is really good.
Yeah, that's great.
Because that's everything, right?
Totally.
Yeah, and if you don't have the right balance, you actually go insane.
And in fact, I actually do remember the post you did when your son started school, and you thanked your radio bosses for letting you have the morning off. And I'm sure there are so many mums listening to this who have a job or have to work and can't, and it's heartbreaking. Like, you don't want to miss out on those things.
Big days.
You have to say no. I remember my first time in radio, I would have just gone, that's okay, no worries, I'll be on air. This time in radio, Nova was the most beautiful family for me. I couldn't have loved it anymore. because I was strong. And when I signed that contract, knowing that school was so far away, I was like, my son's starting school in like 6 months' time. I need you to promise me today that I get that morning off. And they were amazing.
It's great.
You got to say like, just say no, sorry.
And that's
no.
when you
never
quit,
get that
isn't it, Kez?
Yeah.
You quit full-time
Yeah.
right as your eldest was about to start school
and I would
you
have
can't imagine how it
never
could
done
work.
a pickup.
No,
Because
I know.
of the shift work.
Yeah.
And I never would have been there for available for school excursions or to listen to reading in the classroom. And I
also,
can do all of that now.
You feel out of it. So when you're not doing the drop-offs, it was always my husband in the mornings with my first son, and I would go to school pickup because I'd try and do all the pickups, and everyone's clicky and everyone's talking, and I'd be on my phone going, oh my God, no one wants to be my friend. Because you don't, like, they don't know you because they don't see you in the morning. And that's a really big part of it. That's the thing that people don't talk about. When you have kids and they have friends, you get all these amazing mums
An
around
extra
you.
group of friends.
Yeah, that I think I'll be with forever because they're like my soul sisters now.
It does feel like that. And also the kids are at the same life stages and you're just like, oh, yes, we get each other right now.
And you do go through a stage where all your school friends and all your friends that you've been with forever are always going to be there, and you do try and see them as much as you can. But unfortunately then sport takes over and you end up seeing those new mums and
that's another
dads.
group of mums again.
Yeah.
The sports mums.
Yeah, that you see every Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, it's a nice village to be part of. When you're right, everyone's going through the same things. Yeah, it's like a mother's group for teenagers.
And then you get all the WhatsApp groups.
Actually, I need that. We should do that. A mother's group, for mums of teenagers. Yes.
Support group.
I'll bring the marble cake. You bring the coffee.
Done.
You're there soon too, aren't you? You got a 9-year-old.
Nearly 9-year-old. So another few years and we'll be heading into the tweens.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I'm right at the cusp of like, I haven't lost him yet in terms of like he's 12. He's my height. He's a man.
He's a big boy.
But he's still like, he's still a baby. Like he's still innocent. He doesn't know about all the other stuff in the world yet. I'm trying to.
I feel like he was almost close to as tall as your dad. I saw a photo recently.
Yeah, he's getting tall.
I was like, what? He's so tall.
I know, he's a man. But he's always been tall. And then I've got my little guy who's got like, his grandma on the other side is like 4'3". So I think he's got the short shape. So he'll always be my baby. He'll be in my look forever.
and does he say to you, I'm not a baby?
Yeah, of course.
Because they say that, my boys say that to me, you're always going to be my baby.
You'll be my baby forever.
They just don't understand that.
And
when
we're
you
allowed to say that because we're their mum. Like, we're allowed to like, I don't know when I've got to stop kissing them on the lips. I don't kiss my 12-year-old on the lips anymore. But I do my 9-year-old. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Wait, it stops?
Yeah.
They make you stop kissing
Well,
on the
okay,
lips?
picture this. When your kids start looking like a man or a woman and they're at school, it's weird if you kiss them on the lips. Do you think?
Will he still let you give him a kiss on the head or
Oh
the
God,
cheek or something? That's
oh no,
all okay?
he still comes and nestles into me like a fetus. But I don't kiss him on the lips. That would be weird now.
Yeah, I understand that.
Don't you reckon? When he looks like a man, it's like
I suppose.
Yeah, you're not there yet. When you get there, you'll be okay with it.
I can appreciate that. Yeah.
And one day he's going to bring a girl home.
I know.
And he's going to say, Mum, and how are you going to go? Because actually this is my biggest fear as being a boy mum.
Yeah.
Maybe we can give each other some advice. How the hell am I going to be all right with him having another woman to love?
I know. I've thought about this. This is why mothers can be psycho mother-in-laws.
And I don't want that.
No, I don't want to be a psycho mother-in-law. I think the key is we need to befriend them. So the girls really like us.
Okay.
And then they'll want to spend time with us because quite often girls will always see their parents, but boys might go for weeks without seeing their parents. And I don't want that.
So if we can have the relationship with them. And look, I wanted a daughter. I would have loved a girl. So this is what I can
this is what we get. Yes. Oh, I know. I've thought about that too. I just want to be friends with them and I want them to be really nice. I've already told my sons that. You know that we have a say. If we don't like this person,
but I can imagine there's going to be phases and there's going to be girls and we have to be like, shh, let him work it out on his own.
I know.
You'll get there.
You'll get
know,
it's
it's a
like
really
with
weird
friendships
thing.
though, I feel. There's been some friendships with my daughter that I'm like, she'll figure it out. I need to let her work this out herself.
Yeah.
And
It's hard not to take it on, though. Do you feel like that? I'm
is.
such an empath that I
But
feel
what would you have
what
said
they
to
would
your
feel.
parents if they said, Hayley, this guy?
Jimmy.
No.
Who is this Jimmy
You would have
boy?
Do you know
like,
what?
"Stop it."
When I first met Jimmy years ago, he came over as my mate, as my friend. I loved him from the moment I met him, but I didn't realise that he was still with his ex. We were never together. He never cheated or anything like that.
No, no.
Yeah.
But he was still had a girlfriend, and I remember my mum meeting him for the first time and going, I don't know about that, Jimmy, because she just found out that he had a girlfriend. But now, like she loves him like a son. Like
Yeah.
it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, if my parents said I don't like them, I would have been like, up yours, I don't care.
Totally.
I don't care what you think.
Yeah,
I
my
like them.
choice, yeah.
Oh God, that's our future, guys.
Long way away.
No, they'll pick beautiful people.
They will.
We just have to mould it
Yeah.
this way, boys.
And I plan on going on holidays with them and stuff as well. So that's the key. We need to befriend the girls.
Yep. And think of the strategies. Like one day they'll have their own children and you just come with a meal and you have a purpose and you rock up
and
because
food saves everything.
be helpful.
Yeah,
Yes.
Stock the freezer.
Oh, guys, I don't want to think that far ahead. I don't want them to ever to leave. I've already planned
Build a
like
granny flat out the back. and
yeah,
they can- yeah.
I've already planned like schoolies that rather than doing schoolies because I'm scared of schoolies anyway,
terrifies
morbid brain.
Take them overseas.
We'll go overseas. Bring your best friend or your girlfriend, and we'll go overseas and have a great, safe family holiday.
How good.
that.
Somewhere like America where the drinking age is 21.
Yes, exactly, Jenna.
You mentioned Adelaide before, and I know all our listeners, our local listeners will
yeah.
be all over that. But
Oh.
Adelaide is, okay, so you have a website.
Yeah.
You're obviously bunters on social media. Then you guys have a print magazine, a TV show as well. I mean, you've just gone from strength to strength to strength.
With no business experience whatsoever
It's really cool. And I guess
or a business plan.
the whole
Wing it.
the whole premise is to spotlight the incredible places and businesses of Adelaide and South Australia. So tell us about the thing that happened right as you walked in here today.
Oh, it was an amazing moment. I was walking here, looking at my GPS, trying to find where the hell this studio was. And this man double looked. I could see him looking, and I was like, "Oh, what's he doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I just want to say, I love your show, and I love Adelaide. I'm not from here." And I'm like, "Where are you from?" And he goes, "I've come from Perth, and because I watched your show, I've come over for a holiday with my wife." I'm like, "That is the coolest thing
So
ever."
cool.
So you've promoted South Australia and Adelaide so beautifully.
Do you know
This
what though?
man's-
I think we've just, and from the radio experience, we've created this really beautiful community, which you girls have, and you'll realise how nice it is, that it's a really positive, beautiful vibe, and we never get mean comments.
There are nice people out there.
They're really nice, kind, like-minded people, and it's this beautiful community, so it's nice to be part of that, where we don't get, maybe our people delete the comments, but as far as I know, we don't get
Can't imagine.
many
No.
mean things said about us.
And then you've got lots of fundraisers that you do.
You did one recently.
Yeah,
Amazing.
We've done so Lauren and my mums were both had breast cancer about 8 years ago,
Same time.
around the same time, and mum's was and I've just learnt this is a good thing to keep in mind. When you go through severe trauma, and she has a thing called broken heart syndrome from when my brother passed away, you have to watch your left breast where your heart is.
Oh, wow.
And that's where she got cancer. So hormonal cancer can obviously be anywhere, but generally mums who have lost someone, just make sure you get checked. So yeah, she had breast cancer all those years ago. She's fine now, touch wood, she's all good. But we've I don't know, I like aligning myself to charities that mean something to me. And this particular one that we align ourselves to, Australian Breast Cancer Research with the Hospital Research Foundation Group, literally the money goes to researchers in Adelaide, at Samarie, or wherever they're studying, which is so beautiful.
Yeah,
And
love
we've raised just over $500,000
Oh my
in all those years. Yeah.
So
And not like, you know, where some charities are like, I don't know where the money goes. Like, where's it actually going? This is like, I've met the researchers.
They're
and
all
we've
local.
bought machinery with that money
Oh, wow.
for breast cancer, which is pretty cool.
I don't know if you know this, but I think I came to the first one.
Did you?
It was a lunch. It wasn't like a dinner.
No.
Wait, so what was that
You
one
went
that
to
we
someone
did?
else's.
No, it was you girls, or maybe you just hosted.
Maybe
a
we
longest
hosted one.
table
But
lunch.
you girls need to come. You need to come to our
And it
next
was-
one.
it
You
was
should do a
so
podcast
cool.
from there.
Oh, that would be fun.
That'd be so cool.
Yes. Because there's a lot of mums, and I know people listening to your show, majority of them are mums or on the journey to be a mum.
Yeah.
Breast cancer's,
It's a real thing.
yeah.
And it's
Unfortunately.
It's so sad that every one of us is touched by it in some way.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I don't know what it is. I feel like it's everywhere at the moment, and maybe it's because I've got a couple of friends who have been diagnosed. Like 34, she's going to be fine, but like, and then obviously Ali on Mix. Like it feels like it's everywhere at the moment. So yeah,
That's what I mean.
it's
We're coming
cruel.
into that age, aren't we? Like
That's probably what it is.
And
It's
it's
like
just
we're all
sad.
going, oh, everyone's parents getting sick. Us because we're getting older. Yeah.
oh,
I know.
Yeah.
So annoying. Hate getting older. I feel like I'm still 8.
I don't feel like I'm 44 at
No.
all.
Are you 44? Kerrie Multan. I still call you Kerrie Multan.
So Kerrie's maiden name.
You're such a delightful human being. She used to bounce, Jenna, when I used to work with Kerrie at Nova in Melbourne. She would bounce into the studio in the morning with her beautiful, amazing breasts. And just be so happy and smart and lovely.
her pre-breastfeeding
Yeah.
breast.
And bouncy bazookas.
Well, you know, Kerrie and I actually were so lucky to work in the newsroom together. You know, when like it can be like a heavy challenging job and you find your person
Yeah.
and you get to have so much fun.
Yeah.
And we were like, we'd like put on Shakira and we'd sing and dance and it was, yeah.
It's so, and that's why you guys
had
are the
to.
best duo. It's so nice. I genuinely love seeing what you two are doing.
Thank you
It's so good.
much.
That is so nice.
And thank you so much for coming to chat with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for creating a really nice, safe place to chat. And letting me, I mean, you can edit that as much as you want because I just went on and on and on.
Not at all.
It was
don't
like,
edit.
I don't need a psychology appointment. I just need to come and see you guys
That's
every
it.
few
We
weeks.
say that. We say that actually.
It's so true. That is why women need women. We need to be, because unfortunately, when we get older, men don't tend to travel with other men or they'll pass away before we do. We need this. We need the sisterhood.
Yeah, you've got to fill that cup.
But you do feel
100%.
better when it gets off your chest,
You
don't
do.
you?
Yeah. That's why I just like blurt everything out. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. I just
No,
literally go. So
honesty.
if I'm feeling shit and someone goes, "How are you?" I can't just go, "Yeah, I'm good." I
I'm the
go,
same.
"Oh my god, I got my period. Oh my god, I'm going through like the most terrible time right now." I just have to tell you.
We recorded a few days ago and Jenna said as I walked in, "How are you?" I said, "Do you want the truth or do you want me to
Yeah.
pretend?"
The one eyebrow goes up, and you're like, "Oh, Kerrie's not in a good way."
It's the radio gene, girls, because it's like fill the dead air, talk, talk,
Yes!
talk.
So true. Aw, thank
Now-
you for having me, girls.
Thank you for being here, Hayley. Before you go, you told us that light was the word that you would use to describe yourself before you were a mum.
Yeah. After you're a
Your,
mum?
your word now that you're a mum.
I'm going to say heavy, but not in a bad way. Heavy with so much love and layers and thoughts. I'm a better person now that I have babies. So heavy in a good way.
And watch the video because she's not heavy. Like,
Well,
yeah.
maybe I am.
No, you're not.
Maybe I'm wearing a massive... I look like a pirate today, guys.
No, I get that though. Yeah.
Heavy mental load. Like heavy
The
is in
mental
like...
load.
Light
Every-
before, I had
yeah.
nothing to worry about. Now I'm morbid. That's a heaviness because I love so much and I don't want the people that I love anything to go wrong. And it's the heaviness of just so much, so many layers and thoughts.
Yeah,
and
it's complex.
All those
isn't
tabs that are open.
all of them. Like the mental load is heavy,
It's
and I
full
didn't
on.
have it before.
It's real.
Yeah.
How good that you have your husband and your amazing parents to be such a village around you. I'm sure you'd say that you couldn't do everything that you do
I
if it
could
weren't
never.
for them.
I have the most amazing
Yeah.
husband ever. I still, like, I looked at him last night and he was hanging out all the washing as I was on the phone to my best friend and I was like, Lauren, look, he's just hanging out. He's just so beautiful. I love him so much. We've been together since I was 21 and I'm 42 now.
And you still
Amazing.
love him
And
that much.
I do. I'm a stalker. I'm a loser. Yeah. I don't love him that much. Yeah, I do. I love him heaps. Thanks for having me,
Thanks,
girls.
Hayley.
Thanks, Hayley.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on How Motherhood Changed Me. We'd love you to be part of the conversation by connecting with us on social media. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review and subscribe.